I am. Let me know when.
Yeah, one more moment, please. It just takes a while to boot up onto
No
Zoom
problem at all.
to Facebook.
And Mr. President, just a reminder to announce the executive session regarding discussion of borough appointments prior when you get started.
Sure. I suppose.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the Sunshine Act compliance.
Unlike some places, I say again.
Otherwise, we'll have to take training.
Right. Yeah, right.
Okay, in a minute here, I'm going to begin to let everyone in. There's 10 people in the waiting room.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
P.S. in the matter of the business on the table. So you're taking 7 then, Diane?
Yeah, I'll do the minutes in 7.
All right. Valerie, you want 8?
I will take it.
Let's see. Let's go. How do you feel about 9 there, Matt?
Sure.
And that throws you. I think you get to double down with 10. You get the 9-10 combo. It's a special combo. So buy
Sounds
one
good.
get one. Buy one get one this month.
Love it.
Diane, just a reminder, you need to slide in a motion to accept the resignation prior to number 7.
Oh, okay.
Motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Zaidel from the zoning hearing board.
Okay.
You know how we feel about change there, Devin. What do you do?
I know it's problematic, but sometimes necessary. Change is good.
Here.
Does anybody know what the proper pronunciation under mine?
Why don't we call this to order? I would say before we call to order, just a matter of notification to the public that we were in executive session dealing with an appointment matter. And so now at this point, we'll move into our regular meeting. So, Mr. Manager, if you can call the roll as we call the order and pledge allegiance. So let's do it in whichever order we do.
Yes, Council Vice President Diane Long,
Here?
Council Member Kevin Collins,
Here.
Council Member Matt Castiglia,
Here.
Council Member Norma Greco,
Here.
Council Member Adam McDowell,
Here.
and Council Member Valerie Renthaler.
Here.
And I am here too.
And President is here as well.
I'm here too.
Speaking of being there, Mr. Mayor, if we can rise for the Pledge of Allegiance if you're able. I like to do a kind of half rise because nobody really wants to just stare at my stomach. So let me pop us up there like that. That's much better. Oh, look at that. He's got the flag going. I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
To the flag
of
of
the United States
States of America and
and
to the republic
Republic for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
Hoorah. That, by the way, was one of the more in sync ones for us this month. Sometimes we are incredibly wildly off in our Zoom.
No
But-
sound.
So I will take my wins.
Can't
Where
get any fun.
I think I have somebody speaking that might be on mute. I'll take my my wins where I can. That being the case, we're going to move right to the space in which we look at comments from our residents and taxpayers. So if you would like to comment to us, we can give you up to 3 minutes of time. Please state your name and your address. And assuming that you are a taxpayer or borough resident, we are happy to hear from you. If you click on the participants, it will give you an option to raise your hand. If you click on raise your hand, I can call on you. And that will give us the opportunity for everyone to speak. First up on the quick click is Joel Carrick. Joel, the floor is yours.
Hello again, Joel Carrick, 116 Marywood Drive.
I'm just back with my monthly, how's the chicken ordinance coming?
It's a fantastic question. What is the update on chicken ordinance? Do I have anything from the zoning folk?
Would you like me to respond?
If you'd like, I will open it for now if you want to give a quick response.
Okay, yeah. I know we made a commitment to deal with this by January. We will be meeting the zoning committee to look at this, look at what you've submitted. We've had a few things to deal with here in the last few weeks. So I would say that I'm sorry for the delay, but the review is on track. So there's nobody trying to prevent this from happening at this point. We just have to fine tune.
Yeah, I think a quick answer is we are interested in moving along, but you may have noticed that something may have popped up that got in front of us for a little bit. So we appreciate it. I'm looking for any other comments. Susan, did you raise your hand? Okay, so if you unmute yourself, I'm happy to hear from you.
Hi, I have a very quick question.
Remember to state your name and address for me,
I'm
please.
sorry, you're right. My name is Susan G. Sterrett. I live with my husband, Peter L. Sperdes, at 1903 Hampstead Drive in the house that we own. We are residents and taxpayers. I do, part of the year I am in Kansas teaching, but we're residents and taxpayers.
Of course.
So I have a very quick question. I saw that there's some ad hoc committees listed that you can ask to join. There's a traffic committee, a site committee, and so infrastructure committee, and so on. Now, if someone does join one of those committees, are they restricted in any way from participating to the same extent that they would as a resident?
So you say as a resident, they're not restricted in any way as they would be as a resident. They're certainly not a member of council, and so while the general information is passed to the committee as a whole, there isn't any kind of secrets in that space. The idea of the final recommendation in that is done by council members.
Okay, so you wouldn't be giving anything up by serving on one of these ad hoc committees?
No, I don't think there's anything to give up per se.
Okay. So is a counsel here? Is a lawyer here? I believe you. I just wanted to know. I didn't even see if he was here or not. Okay.
He's always
right.
here.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, he
there
slapped
he is.
me down. He is quick to unmute and slap me down. So
Okay. All right. Thank you.
you'll go. Is there anyone else who had any comments? Again, you can click on participant. It'll give you the list, gives you the option at the bottom to raise your hand. I think I have a clapping hand. I think you meant for a raising hand. I'll take it either way. Mr. Lawson.
I apologize. I was debating between reactions and participants. There you go. Thanks for getting rid of my clapping hands. I hope this is the proper time. I am not a borough resident. I will put that up front.
Are you a taxpayer or representing a taxpayer?
I am not.
Okay, then unfortunately in this forum for public comment, you would have to be a borough resident, taxpayer, or representing a taxpayer at that time.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. Not that I want to cut people off, but if I don't hold a rule, that it becomes a problem at some other time in my future.
Mr. President,
Yes.
later on in the agenda, the council will be considering tax collector and
Yes.
specifically the third party. I'm not asking you to acknowledge Jason Lawson, but he represents Keystone, who happens to be our earned income tax collector and local service tax. So maybe later on, only if Borough Council has questions, only if you have questions,
Right.
just know he's in the room. I don't believe there's a representative from Jordan, who's the other one who has made a proposal to the community. So for your sake and the council's sake, only if you have questions, Mr. Lawson's available.
Right. For the purposes at that time, we certainly can reach back to him. But in terms of public comment for the residents, which is what this portion of it is intended for, I need to play within the lines in order to not get slapped down by the solicitor again. So see how much power I'm giving you today. Anybody else on the, who's borough resident taxpayer who would like to make a comment? If you're on the phone, you know, you can unmute. I can see you unmute and I can try and call your name at that point as well. If not, I'll give it an extra second as I always try to, and then I will move forward. I'm looking at the faces. I don't see any comments. Okay. That being the case, then we will move forward into the agenda, beginning with the minutes.
Mr. President, I move that the council accept the minutes from the December 7, 2020 council workshop meeting and from the December 14, 2020 council regular meeting.
Thank
Second.
you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the minutes are accepted without opposition. Again, I think there's an acknowledgement of the treasurer's report. I believe we have all kind of seen that space. I don't know if anybody had any comment regarding it, as it's just an acknowledgement, doesn't require any type of motion at that time. Was there any comment on the treasurer's report?
Yeah, Mr. President, I'm pleased as to where we're set, comparing the budget of 2020 to actual results. So I commend the staff for doing so well, and I'm looking forward to doing just as well next year. So
We have been blessed with a really well-performing staff. I will say that again. Any other comment before we move forward? All righty. Moving on to paying the bills. At this time, if I can get a motion to pay the bills. You all had the bills in your packet. I assume you had the opportunity to review.
yeah, Mr. President, I move to direct the finance officer to pay the bills for the Borough of Churchill accrued since December 14th, 2020.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you. Any discussion? As a matter of course, we always read the individual bills that are more than 15,000, so any large expenditures are made public in their own space. This month, it appears we have 5. As they read out in front of you, there's Hub International in the amount of $17,982. Again, this is the public official and police liability insurance premiums of Vigliotti Landscape and Construction in the amount of $32,545.88. That is the charges for December for the December work. Gateway Engineers, and that is the amount of $21,320.55, of which, as you can see, there was a reimbursable amount, 24, 46, and 25 cents for Hillwood, and 464.50 from Schaefer. Additionally, there was Cargill Incorporated, the amount of $16,675.86. That is where we get our salt. So we purchased our salt, which is mild, and as much as people aren't driving this winter, we still need to keep our roads clean. And I think we, quite frankly, to Ralph and Crew's credit, I believe we have one of the best best crews out there when wintertime comes, and I appreciate all the work that Ralph and the guys do. And then MRM Property and Liability Trust, the amount of $26,227, which is another policy premium that we're paying out for next year. At this time, I would move forward to acknowledge the mayor's report. Actually, we're still open on that motion. My apology. Is there any other discussion on paying the bills? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries. Self-correction before anyone can get to me on that one. So it doesn't really count as an off if I catch it myself. Moving on to the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor, if you'd like to read out your report, if you're interested, we would love to hear. We cannot hear you when you're muted, and I know how important what you're saying is.
Working on, there you go.
Outstanding.
Figured it's not active enough. Okay, Mr. President, if I may, as reported to me, I wish to inform council there were no unusual events or no serious crimes during the month of December 2020. Officers responded to 646 calls, 7,841 for the calendar year 2020. That is an average of 653 calls per month. And I have to make a correction. I originally noted that there were no arrests, but as I further read through the reports, there were 2 arrests made during the month of December 2020. Chief Ronald Ackerley has reported the total amount of magisterial fines collected for the month of December 2020 was $294.93. So the total for the calendar year 2020 is $6,032.73. The department's 5 police vehicles logged 4,231 miles in the past month. Chief Ronald Ackerley reported to me that he was honored and privileged to be able to participate in 2 separate community events during the month of December. The first was the annual Pittsburgh Toys for Tykes. This is a distribution which is held at the Edgewood Town Center. The chief was one of many officers from neighboring communities who collaborated to distribute thousands of donated children's gifts to needy families in the area in an effort to bring some smiles and holiday spirit to the kids who may not receive a gift. The turnout was overwhelming. Fortunately, they were able to provide gifts to everyone who arrived. No one had to be turned away. The second event was also a collaboration of multiple police agencies where the departments conducted a police drive-by parade at the Children's Hospital. The chief and nearly 50 other vehicles circled the hospital grounds with their red and blue emergency lights active as a display of love, prayer, and well wishes to the many children and families who would be spending the holidays confined to a hospital room. I would like to personally thank the chief and our department in all their efforts in providing us with their services and extending this beyond the borough in such spirited activities. Details and other related statistics concerning the police department during the month of December 2020 are reported on the attached police departments. And just one comment, it was so nice to hear that our police department was involved in the Pittsburgh Toys for Tykes and the Children's Hospital activities. I know that meant a lot to a lot of people. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody have any comments regarding the mayor's report? There's no need for a motion on the table. This is simply an acknowledgement. I appreciate, as always, our department. I think we again maintain outstanding officers who really care about our community. So I'll leave that there. That moves us into some of the action items on the table, beginning with number 7.
Mr. President, I move to accept the resignation of Daniel Zadel from the Churchill Borough Zoning Hearing Board.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? I would simply say that, as always, we thank people for their service. This is a little bit unique in this space, but we still thank people for their service. And so in his time and that particular board, we thank him, and I would just leave it there. Any other discussion in that space? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And his resignation is accepted. Moving on to the stated number 7.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to appoint Daniel Zadel as a member of the Churchill Borough Planning Commission for the term expiring the 31st of December 2023.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Again, you heard the resignation from one board and the appointment to another board. The only thing that I would, first of all, thanking him for his continued service, quite frankly, to the borough. But I would also point out our need always for volunteers. We don't exactly have lots of money to pay people or, that kind of thing. but we have a wealth of talent in our community, and we really appreciate and can use people who are willing to volunteer and to help us out. I don't know if there's any other discussion regarding Mr. Zeta. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And congratulations again to Mr. Zadel as he moves from zoning to planning. This moves us on to number 8.
I motion to approve a resolution of the Borough of Churchill appointing Krista Kohler as the treasurer for Churchill Borough.
Thank
Second.
Go ahead.
you. quick seconds. I
Second.
budget. Is there any discussion? Just as a matter of course, we need to have, obviously, the borough needs to have a treasurer. The previous assistant borough manager is, I think, currently listed as a treasurer. So it is important that we have our finance officer and holding the roles that are necessary for the borough to do the work. Is there any other discussion on this matter? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? And it is accepted without opposition. One more thing to put on your list of duties. We appreciate it. Moving forward to number 9.
Yes, I'd like to consider resolution 4512 and make a motion to approve the resolution of the Borough of Churchill appointing individual to fill as a tax collector vacancy for Churchill Borough beginning February 1st, 2021. The term of said appointment shall expire on the 3rd day of January 2022, and that individual would be Danielle Weaver, who has expressed interest in the position.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Let me say now that we truly appreciate Danielle's willingness to do this. I think initially we had looked at this in one direction and then kind of shifted it all around. And Danielle, quite frankly, has been willing really to serve the community, which is something that is special for us. So I just want to take a second to thank you for your willingness to serve. Is there any other discussion?
Jay, I would just like to echo your comments as well.
Thank you, Matt. Without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries without opposition. Thank you, Danielle, for your willingness to serve. This moves us on to number 10.
Yes, I'd like to consider a motion to select Keystone Tax Collection as the deputy tax collector for the borough of, for Borough of Churchill, and to be, deputized as the deputy tax collector
For the collection of property taxes.
for the collection of property taxes.
I know that's what you said. Outstanding. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I could, just before we get into the discussion, I mean, I think this is a bit of an unusual situation, at least for the Borough of Churchill, and I wanted to just point out that the actual appointment of the deputy tax collector will be done by the tax collector. However, that appointment of a deputy tax collector does require approval by the governing body, Borough Council, and by the surety that issued the bond for the tax collector. We don't anticipate that being an issue, but I just wanted council to be aware that technically, you're not appointing the deputy tax collector, but you're sort of blessing, for lack of a better term, that role or that organization to serve as deputy tax collector.
Understood. Is it more authorizing them, or is it more of a state of just concurring?
It's more concurring, but it's approving. Let's call it approving. Approving at Keystone to serve as deputy tax collector. However, the actual appointment is made by the tax collector. Maybe that's a better way of doing it. The appointment's by the tax collector. It's approved by Borough Council and the surety, hopefully.
Understood.
Do we need to amend the motion?
No, I think it's, as long as the minutes reflect, Alex, that, you know, some sort of blending of what Matt and I just said, and, you know, it works its way in there. I think we'll be fine.
Now, there's always Zoom recording if there's any if there's any confusion in the space. So at this point, we have a motion on the table. Was there any discussion?
Can I suggest, Mr. President? Sorry, I keep.
Don't worry. You're probably going to say what I'm going to do next. So go ahead.
I haven't had much to say yet, and this is probably already in your grand plan, but I was thinking that before you vote, we have Mr. Lawson.
You're on the same page. Don't worry.
Okay.
You know?
All right. We've been working together for too long, I guess, or I guess I've been working for you for too long.
You know, morons think alike. That's what they say, right? Yeah. So at this time, Mr. Lawson, if the comments you're looking at in the public, we'd love to hear from you in terms of Keystone, if you'd like, sir.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First off, I'll be very brief in my remarks. Thank you for having myself and Rose Haar from Keystone is with me as well tonight. She is Keystone's Vice President of Client Relations. I serve as the Associate General Counsel as well as the Director of Business Development. I just want to thank you for this opportunity. If the vote goes in favor of Keystone, we've served as current real estate tax collector, of course, deputized by the elected or appointed collector in numerous locations, municipalities, and school districts throughout Pennsylvania. We're up to the task to do this job. Had a nice conversation today with Alex and Krista about some of how we process things. Our goal is to always be transparent with your taxpayers, to treat them with courtesy and dignity at all points in time, and to share as much information with them as possible, and to make the tax collection process as easy as possible for them. Whether they want to cut a check, whether they want to call us on the phone, or whether they want to pay it online, which is what we prefer. We try to push as many people online as possible, allows us to get you your funds faster. That's the way things are going right now. I think we've served as your earned income tax collector as well as LST for 9 years now. I think Borough's pretty happy with our services there. They know exactly the reports and the information that are available from us. So that's what I will say about current. Alex, did we want to talk about delinquent tax at all or no?
I think it's now that we're looking at this, that will be something we'll consider. The council had raised the question of synergies or savings, possibly, if the current tax collector was also the delinquent tax collector. And that's something we'll explore in detail for the council's future reference to consider. What Krista had done this evening was provide in the borough's packet an updated comparison of how that would look. But there certainly isn't time for the council to have digested that information, and we'll come back around at it very soon.
Completely understand. That's all I'll say. I won't belabor the point, but I will make myself or Mrs. Haar available for any questions from council.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. With this currently on the table, were there any questions in the discussion from council? Hearing none, the motion is still on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we move to accept Keystone. Outstanding. This moves us on to item 11 on the agenda, which we have under the discussion item, essentially addressing the next public meeting where the matter will be on the Westinghouse Park. So I don't know, everyone's had the opportunity, if there's any kind of general discussion that we want to have right now. We know that we need to get kind of dispersion of documents into our committees so that we can get that running ASAP. But I've got nothing additional from myself this time, and would leave it to the floor of council if anyone had anything they wanted to discuss on this matter.
Quick question. Alex, is the State Department of Transportation going to meet at the end of January? I think I recall hearing
There's
that.
been no meeting set. What the department communicated to the applicant was that once they submitted their plans formally through the department's wicket gate, they would have 30 days to review. And at the end of that, they would provide dates so that they could meet and review those comments. And Dennis, if I'm missing something, please let me know.
No, that was essentially the comments, and at this point, we have no confirmation that any new response has been provided.
And how about the feds, the federal highway? Are they going to have any input into this?
That is still up for consideration. As of now, it does not appear that they will need to. PennDOT, once they have enough information to perform a deeper review, if they determine that it affected the gore of the highway, then it would have to go to the Federal Highway Administration. But as of right now, at least the applicant's intention is not to affect that, not to have to go through Federal Highway review.
Okay. Al, again, I'm still hoping that somehow we get some type of, besides the off-ramp eastbound into the facility, there's some exits and ramps into it from the parkway. So I just was wondering where that stood. Is Mike Doyle involved at all? Do we know?
Mike is aware. I've had conversations with Mike, but until we get quite honestly, a new budget that we can look into the Department of Transportation budget, there's not going to be a whole lot of action coming out. It's a budgetary consideration. It's a line item inside of appropriations is where that comes from. And so you got to pump the money in first to get the action out onto the study space. And so Mike, we have had very direct conversations with Congressman Doyle about the need. I think both he and Senator Costa acknowledge the need has to be there, that it has to be a priority. And so we're kind of awaiting, as we know, we have a transition coming up. And I think when we're looking at the new Congress, we'll have a much better picture of what the timeline and appropriations look like. Any other discussion? We have a lot of work in front of us, so I know it's it's not like we haven't all been discussing within committee. So I appreciate that space. That's going to move us on to kind of what's listed as kind of staff and council reports. Also a bit of a kind of around the table, if you will, but we no longer kind of have the table. So let's run through this, see who has interesting things to tell us today or not. I like how we have the engineer listed out, Alex. I appreciate that, to make Dennis feel like he has to speak to us. Dennis, is there anything you'd like to add today?
Just again, as a reminder, the pump station replacement project, the permits are well underway. Those have been submitted. In the time being, we would expect a couple of months until we get a final response and those are approved. But in the time being, the other items that we would expect to complete are gaining easements for access of our pipeline or our sanitary sewer line that's intended. So that'll be one of the main items that we'll be collecting in the time being while we're waiting for the permits to be completed. And then at that time, we'll be ready for bidding. So it is still on schedule for bidding and construction this summer. And then the only other item I have, just real quick, sorry, Mr. President, is for sanitary sewer operation and maintenance. As we move into a new year, we will be evaluating and reviewing proposed projects to keep the municipality in compliance. As always, we will meet with borough staff and ultimately the sewer committee or infrastructure committee to review proposed repairs, proposed CCTV to make sure that the borough stays in compliance.
Thank you.
And Dennis, your time frame on that, maybe
We're looking to have that within the next month. Again, working around knowing that one of the big priorities is going to be the review process that's ongoing with Hillwood, as well as the pump station replacement project.
Awesome. That is, these are projects that have kept us up at night. So I think, yeah, it's important that we hear that we are moving forward on schedule. So thank you. Moving on, I'm going to kind of combine two because he is a man who wears so many hats. Ralph, anything up in either the public works space or the fire department?
Yeah, the fire department. Just want to let everybody know that we received a $93,000 grant to replace all of our radios in the fire department. That would be all of our portable radios and the truck radios as well. They should start coming in within the next week and being put in the trucks within the probably next 2 weeks. So that's something on the bright side. Yes.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Who, if I can inquire, who put the grant together?
It was a group grant with 12 municipalities in the Woodland Hills District.
Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding.
Other than that, everything else is good, Jay.
How's the magic of the roads right now?
They're good. Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I just wanted to double back to make sure that that is, that's what we're saying today.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right. Krista, anything on the forefront for us today?
But at this time, Mr. Council President, I just wanted to take a moment and thank everyone for formally appointing me as treasurer and welcoming Daniel Weaver aboard as the official tax collector. I'm looking forward to working with you moving ahead.
Awesome. Mr. Manager?
Yes, thank you. Nothing further to my report like that, but I want to call to your attention about midway through your binder is the Vigliotti report. And Ralph worked really closely with Vigliotti to improve communication to council that include the hours and some charts to break down their time. As you can tell by your salt bill, they were very busy. The hours that were put into snow removal were a couple 24-hour spans within a short 7 to 10 day window. I can't say enough about Ralph and Vigliotti, but I would like council to make sure they note those reports. I'm really happy what Ralph was able to do with Vigliotti to get that kind of information into your hands.
Thank you. The reports, I think, speak for themselves, quite frankly, that the improved reporting has been amazing just across the board. And every new improvement, I think is noticed, and I mean, it's clear. I mean, trust me, I've been on council for 10 years. It's a very different space in terms of the information that we're getting and how it's being provided to us from when I started. I will just say that. Mr. Solicitor, anything that you would like to contribute to the table before I go around council?
I have nothing, Mr. President, but thank you for the opportunity. Much appreciated.
That's my solicitor's most famous words. I have nothing. See, but I'll take it. I'll take it today because he's a brilliant man, the solicitor we have. I'm still in a kind mood. It's still going. I don't know what's happening to me. Something about the new year. All right, let's move around the council table. See if anybody has any comments, anything like to say. We go with the Brady Bunch technique, starting up in my upper left. Mr. Collins.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Ralph, thanks very much for the snow removal activity. Well done. Okay, attaboy. And again, we're in good shape budget-wise, it looks like. So we need to keep a good eye on the revenue from taxes coming in. I know we're doing a good job on expenses. So good job, Alex and Krista. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Mr. McDowell.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to say thanks to Dan Zato for wanting to join the Planning Commission. There's going to be a lot of work there in the coming months. Thanks to Danielle Weaver for wanting to be tax collector. And to the mayor and to the chief of police and the police department, it was great to hear about the Toys for Tykes and the event at Children's Hospital. So just, thanks to our police department for participating in these events here in Allegheny County and, showing ourselves out there is, some good news for the community. So thanks to everyone.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that. I got to go through the public and go through my squares of council people. Valerie, you're up.
I feel like Adam took every single word I wanted to say. Literally, I had things written down and he wrote them all. Thank you to everybody. Danielle, thank you for your time. That's really helpful for the borough. And I was really glad to hear, Ralph, thank you. The salt was impeccable this season, so that was great. But I loved hearing about the grant. I think that's wonderful that they were able to do that. So thank you for sharing that information.
Thank you, Valerie. Moving over to Norma.
Yeah, I think Adam said a lot of what I wanted to say, but I wanted to thank the visitors here tonight and the continued just thoughtful feedback on the Westinghouse project and the willingness to even participate in an ad hoc committee. I think that's terrific. I think our residents are great. So thank you all.
Excellent. Matt?
Well, Jay, I know you were hoping for a short meeting. I only have about 30 minutes here, so we'll keep it quick. No.
Okay.
I just wanted to echo what Norma said. She took the words out of my mouth. I appreciate our residents and the time they're putting into, the important decisions we have going on right now, for giving their feedback. And it's very apparent that they are taking the time to really dig into everything and bring, great questions to the process. So appreciate it. Keep up the great work. Same with Ralph and the borough staff. Roads have been great. So thank you.
Hey, Matt, just so you know that the record is 19 minutes. So whenever we cross it, I'm done. We can go as long as we need to. Once we Diane, the floor is yours, Madam Vice President.
Yeah, I'm, same thing as starting with what Adam said. I want to thank Danielle. It's such an important thing to have for the community to have confidence, and it's great that there's going to be someone in the borough who is going to be that person who provides the sense of confidence and local involvement with our citizens. So I appreciate that. Dan couldn't be here with us tonight, but I'm grateful that Dan was interested in making the leap from zoning to planning. Dan's experience on zoning, as well as his own personal professional experience, should provide us with a rock solid addition to the Planning Commission. So I'm grateful to him. I love the police outreach. When I commend Chief Akerley for the efforts that he made to reach out, particularly to the children over the holiday. I think that was a wonderful thing. And I want to thank all my colleagues for everything that they are doing. Everybody's putting in a lot of extra time, and it's very important. I'm looking forward to getting more citizen engagement in our committees and working that out. And we have a new committee structure. So we need to hit the ground running, obviously. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Mr. Mayor?
I'll say. Yes, if I may, I just wanted to thank, again, everyone, especially the residents who stepped forward and throw their hat in the ring. So, they have an expertise in somewhere and are willing to help out where they can in the borough. And again, just to say, to let everyone know, I'm very optimistic as to where we're headed in the future with what's going on in the borough. I see, all good things coming our way. So, and without belaboring any further, just thank everyone for their commitment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That again leaves the difference between leaving whatever room you're in and listening to me. A couple of things I just want to say real quick. One is I believe in acknowledging the space that we're in, and that being the case, it has been a crazy week. Just want to point that out. I hope everybody is okay and kind of processing it, dealing with it. One of the things that I would point out that I take away from that is that we live in a community where what you're hearing is the exact opposite of that, right? We, regardless of our differences, I think we live in a space that we are fortunate enough that our residents all want to work together, even when we disagree, that we have, a mutual goal of ensuring that Churchill is a great place to live. And so with all the other craziness that's going around, and there's a lot of it, we don't need to pretend that there's not. I'm happy to know that I get to, at the end of the day, turn off my TV and realize that I live in Churchill. The last thing that I will say is that, you know, you hear every meeting, you hear the kind of nonstop thank yous back and forth to our staff and to our citizens, and that's because they really are that good. It is well earned when we're continually kind of congratulating our own, you know, our own folks for their work. Churchill remains, you know, you look around us and irrespective of what's happening to any of our neighbors, whether it's a financial difficulty, whether it's a issue of behavioral, it's not here. We have worked really hard to keep Churchill the kind of shining city on the hill kind of mentality that we have had, and I'm very proud of our staff and of our residents for that. That being said, as we move into the new year, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
All right, I'll take one of those. Is there a second there? I think it was
Second.
second. All right, game, set, match. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day.
Okay.
We're out.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.
Yeah.
The words of Tracy Ullman, go home.